In today's video, I'm going to give you 8 tips on planning your upcoming homeschool year. Hey guys, it's Vani from Mrs. Mom's Homeschool, and in today's video, I'm going to give you my top 8 tips on how I plan my upcoming homeschool year. And this video is in collaboration with a bunch of other homeschooling mamas, so make sure you check out the playlist in the description below so you can see all of their tips, which may be different from mine. If you're new to my channel, I've been homeschooling since 2012. I make videos to help you in your homeschooling journey. Let's get into these 8 tips. My very first step is to decide on my language arts and math curriculum. Since these are the most important subjects to me for my children, I'm gonna wanna start with these. If I can knock those out, I can get into all the fun stuff. So the first way that I do this is I have to assess what I have been using in the previous year or years and see if that has been working for my kids and for us as a family. If it has, then that's so easy. I just buy the next level and continue on with my research. If it hasn't been working, there's 2 things I do. The first thing is I go on to the 102 curriculum choices or picks by Cathy Duffy. I'm going to link that book in the description below. I believe she also has a website. I'll find that and I'll link it as well. But in this resource, you have 102 of the top curriculum choices that she thinks are the top, and it tells you the pros and cons and lists a bunch of details about them. Once I've narrowed, there's even a quiz actually inside of there that will help you narrow down what's best for your family, a best fit for your learners and a best fit for the family depending on your needs. Now, once I've narrowed down a couple of curriculum for these topics, I'll go on YouTube and I'll find some video reviews of them. And I have a whole playlist here on all of my video reviews that I've been using since homeschooling in 2012 and on. Step number 2 is to think about what subjects or topics your kids need help in or need to work on, and what skills that they have that are very weak that you want to strengthen. Let's say you have a child who's not a very good writer or who can benefit from handwriting or doesn't know that much about the science topics as you thought they should, then you're gonna wanna focus on those subjects. Should you add a curriculum that's stronger in that topic? Should you add a supplemental curriculum to it in addition to what you're already using? Should you maybe sign them up for an online course or a homeschool co-op? What are the things that you can do to strengthen your child in that or those specific areas? And then you're going to want to incorporate that into your lesson plan for the next year. Step number 3 is to decide, is there something that I need them to know? Did I go to a play date and I realized that this other kid knew all these things about history and my kid knew nothing about who George Washington was, and now I really want to touch on that subject? Maybe your child is approaching middle school and you want to talk about maturity and development and you want to add a curriculum to that. Do you think it's really important for them to learn more about current events? Think about the things that you think that they really need to learn. Maybe it could be apologetics, or it could be anything that you feel that you wish you would have taught them before, or you think it's the right age to start teaching them now. And do your research and start looking into that. Step number 4 is to ask your children, what do they want to learn about this upcoming homeschool year, or what are their interests? And you can pick different curriculum or co-op classes or electives based on these interests. And if your kid has no idea what they want to learn about, well, you know your child, you know what they're interested in. They might be really into horses at the time. You might want to set up some horseback riding lessons and maybe a curriculum or a unit study on horses. Maybe they are really into being a veterinarian. You want to buy a homeschool unit study on being a veterinarian. Maybe they're really into space. Whatever it is that your kids are interested in, you know their interests, or you know, you should. And if you don't, I mean, not that you should, because sometimes we just don't know because they don't show any interest in anything specific. So that's why you ask them as well. If you don't know what they may be interested in, you can ask them, what is some things you want to learn about this upcoming homeschool year? And then you can go and find books and videos and maybe mini unit studies that you can add into your year. Next, I want to decide on electives that are important to me or electives that my state requires. So that will be science, history, maybe you want to add music or art appreciation into your homeschooling. So those are things you want to consider that and decide on curriculum for those as well. Step number 6, how can you add fun into your homeschooling year? Homeschooling is not meant to be school at home or working in the classroom. I mean, if that's what you choose to do, that's fine, but your kids are kids, whether they're in kindergarten or high school, and everybody needs a little bit of excitement. Everybody needs a change of pace. Everybody needs a little bit of fun into the homeschool. So think about what can you add to your homeschool that will make it more fun for your kids. Will it be a homeschool co-op? Will it be field trips? Will it be projects like an egg drop, invention, or science fair? Will it be putting them in some sort of robotics club? How can you celebrate holidays to make it fun? On St. Patrick's Day, can you do leprechaun traps? On Christmas, do you want to do a unit study? On Easter, can you do a big egg hunt and make it educational? What are some ways that you can celebrate President's Day or Ben Franklin's birthday or some of those other weird holidays that they have? How can you incorporate fun into your homeschool? You could do fun Fridays, laid back Mondays, poetry tea time. You could add nature studies or even themed days like Monday's baking day, Tuesday is nature study day, Wednesday are poetry tea time days. Whatever it is that you're willing to do to help make your homeschooling more enjoyable, not just for your kids. When you add fun into your homeschooling variety, you're making it less boring for yourself. And homeschooling is not boring, but sometimes we get into a homeschool rut and we do the same thing day after day after day after day. So throwing themes in there, it makes homeschooling a lot more enjoyable for you as a mom and teacher. Step number 7. So what I started doing this homeschooling year, I don't plan out my homeschool. I plan out my homeschool days to an extent. What I do is I plan out my month, and if you haven't seen, I have a playlist here on my monthly homeschool themes, and you will see that every month I have read out loud selections. I have field trips and projects that we're going to be doing for that month. I have a history or science unit that we're going to be working on for that month. I have different Bible studies and character traits that we're going to be working on for that month. So my goal is to complete those topics within a month. And then I can go day by day knowing the big picture on what I want to teach for that month and what units I want to get out of the way. When you're doing this, make sure you leave off a couple days for sick days, doctor's appointments, and things like that. And whatever you don't get finished can just be carried on to the next month. Tip number 8 is to decide on a schedule. What is your overall homeschool year going to look like? Will you homeschool year round and maybe take off 1 month for the summer? Will you do Sabbath homeschooling, which is 6 weeks on and 1 week off? Will you take off the summers and follow a public school schedule? There are lots of different homeschooling schedules, believe it or not, and I do have a very old video here, but I'm gonna make a newer one updating it on all the different types of homeschooling schedules that there are. But think about what your year overall is gonna look like in terms of having days off. You'll want to get a calendar and mark off your holidays and your birthdays and your vacations and anytime relatives are coming in town. And I have a whole video here on planning your entire homeschool year that talks more in detail about those calendar type activities and dates. And my last step for me for homeschooling and planning my entire year is thinking about going to the homeschool convention. I have videos on why you should go, what you should bring, what you should prepare for if you're looking into homeschool conventions. There's one coming up in May if you're watching this when this video is going live, and it's in Florida, it's in Orlando, and it's a big homeschool convention, but there's lots in different other states. Now the reason why you should consider, I'll give you a brief review, is that if you are new to homeschooling, or if you have a child entering a different level in your homeschool, maybe they're just moving from pre-K to kindergarten or first grade, maybe you have an upcoming middle schooler or high schooler, or maybe you have a child you're having problems with in a different area, the homeschool convention is great for this because you get lots of advice, lots of resources. If you're wanting to move to a totally different curriculum, you get to look at those things hands-on, and it's just very helpful and planning your upcoming homeschool year. So these are my 8 tips. I really hope that you benefited from them. What is your favorite tip? Put in the comments below. Don't forget to check out the playlist. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.